Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to tonight's live. My name is Tanya, if you guys are new here, or TitaniumBuilt. Welcome back to all of our members, all of our Titans, and all of our subscribers. Welcome back, everybody. As you guys are coming in, if you don't mind just hitting the like button. I about said bell icon, but yeah, bell icon also, so you can be alerted to new content. But yeah, if you guys could like the video, that way we can go ahead and we'll get started here in just a moment. It does help the channel grow. It pushes it out to the algorithm. Hopefully people will see it and then they'll come in and they'll join us in the chat. Also, I have it on subscriber only mode in the chat, but you only have to be a subscriber for just like any duration, just like any second. Then you can be in the chat. And then if you decide, hey, the channel's not for me, you could always unsubscribe. But I wanted to jump on tonight because I felt like I hadn't seen you guys in a while and it's only been a day. I did a lot of stuff in the other part of my house over for my boutique side. So I am like sleepy tonight, but I wanted to come on and I wanted to hang out with you guys and talk to you guys and show you guys some new stuff that I saw. Hi there. I saw we had some new people in the chat, it looked like. Saw Kelly was in here and Teresa and Ina. Leslie. I saw a bunch of people in here. Oh, I'm glad you guys are all here. Oh, good evening. Good evening to everybody. Elisa says she'll be back at 5:15, but I think that means 8:15 my time. So she must be maybe she's on the West Coast. Because I saw that in the beginning. I was like, unless our times are different, I bet that's what it is. I wish it was only 5:15 over here. Oh, wait, that wouldn't be right, though. No, that'd be right. Yeah, that would be right. I was thinking it was 9:15. Wow, guys. Man, I am not with it. I did post a video right before the live. Well, it was like at 6 o'clock. So I'll have a video come out like every night at 6 o'clock for you guys. They're just going to be like short little videos. It might be something that we kind of went over in the live, or just something that's kind of come up that I want to show you guys. That way they'll have like a video every time. So Pacific time. Yeah, that's what I think she is. Hopefully she's doing okay with all that water. I saw that they were going to get a lot more rain. And actually my picture that my avatar picture, whatever that's called, that's really like me. But that is actually taken in California. So yeah, this channel runs on Eastern time. Yeah, so sorry. I always forget to tell people, like, I always forget to put that in my statuses, like Eastern Standard Time. I'm terrible at it, but I'll get there, you know. 8:19 for me. Yeah, me too. Vincent, he had to run up to Columbus, so he's about an hour or so away, and the dogs were being good. So I was like, I'm going to get on while I can, because they were being ornery today, which actually we took a walk. I'll tell you a quick story. It was just quick, but we were taking a walk, and my dog that is very temperamental, I'll say, she grew up on the streets of Columbus. So before we got her, she was literally just like put on the streets. They think her whole life she lived there. Well, she doesn't like other animals, so I'm always on high alert around with, like, you know, just walking her and everything. So we have those little like collars that are like metal that kind of go into them, which when they pull, they don't even care. Those things don't even work. But hers fell off of her today, and I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, Araya, and I screamed her name, and I think I scared her so bad that because she could feel my instant like anxiety, that she just stopped what she was doing and she just stood there and was shaking, and she just let me put her collar back on her. And then, you know, my other dog, I'm like holding her with my foot, her leash. It was a mess. So Vincent's going to have to order some new collars for them. You're like an hour from Columbus? Well, then you might be near me. I am near the Dayton area. So I guess it's like southwest. And then we have a lady that's in here. She is from like 20 minutes from me. And it's really awesome. I love that. That is awesome. I used to live in Columbus. I loved Columbus, but it's not for me now. I'm too old. See, there she is, TLC Bell. We got another one. We got another Ohio person in here. Did I miss something? Let me see. Okay. Oh, hey, Skittles. Oh, Kelly D, I found it. I meant to tell you. I was looking through the chat. See if I forgot something. I found it. I just didn't get a chance to email you back. I literally found it right before I came on. I think I did anyway. If it's all of the documents that she put together through the whole timeline, then yeah, I found it. I appreciate that. I really, really do. Okay. Let me grab my drink here and then we'll get started. So on our last live, if you guys remember, it was so long ago, but it was really just like, day before yesterday. But we went over the search warrants. They come back on 60 companies. We went over the 700 plus pages on the past 2 lives. Hey, Jay Blizz, where you been? Yeah, I haven't seen. I didn't even read the comment. I just saw it was you. Oh, haven't seen you in a while. Is it because it's so late over there? I might need to start doing more morning lives. I almost came live and did a members live today. I was in the other room just doing clothes, doing TikToks for the store, and I should have just came on live. Oh, and thank you. Someone said that they liked my dress. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's actually a bodysuit. Oh, there it is. There's a comment. Yeah, it's actually a bodysuit and a skirt. So yeah, I've had that skirt for 3 years before I wore it. I was trying to sell it. I was like, I don't need it. It's really cute, but it's just something I didn't need. And then no one got it. And so I was like, your girl's going to wear it. So, and I love California. So thank you. Been busy. Yeah, I hear you there. And time change has been, oh my Lord, that time change. I don't know about you guys, but I don't do good with time change. Today, today Vincent was like, "What? You were sleeping funny again." Sometimes I sleep. This is going to sound weird, but I will sleep upright. Like I will sleep like I'm sitting up with like my legs Indian style, and I'll like just kind of put my head down. And it's because my back and my hips will bother me, so I just tend to sleep kind of funky. So yeah, he was like, "You're sleeping funny again." I'm like, "Well, times have changed, so that's why." Oh, in France, it hasn't changed yet? That's so crazy. I didn't know that it didn't change the same time that we changed. Does it change like this week? Johnny and I talk daily. Oh, he was on dialysis forever, it seems. Oh, he lost a leg and fought through everything that came his way. Oh, I have a friend that he lost both of his legs in a car accident, and I thought I had it bad. With the one eye, I'll take it. I don't know why we still have to do the time change either. Like, why can't we just keep it where it's, little bit later, a little bit of sunlight later on at night. It's not bad, but I don't want it to be too dark in the morning either. I like it right now how it is. I'm not really a big fan of like 9 o'clock. It's still daylight for the most part, but sometimes I am. But yeah, so the first video I want to play for you, because if you guys didn't catch the last 2 lives, we went over the 700 pages of documents that have come out, the unsealed search warrants and the Idaho 4 case. They've come back. They came back with search warrants from Tinder, different banks. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. They had different banks. They had Tinder accounts, Facebook, Meta, things of that nature. They had K-Bar Knives was on it. Blue Ridge Knives was on that list. There was a ton of different things on that list that they searched, and they wanted to know what was in, it was mostly social media and banking, which I think that they really wanted the social media back. They did only get a Reddit back on Kaylee Gonzalez, and I'm wondering why. Maybe none of the other people had Reddit, but I'm wondering if there was something particularly on that Reddit, like on her Reddit, that was, was in importance, because I'm just curious to know now since we've been through them. Okay, so the first video I want to play for you explains like when and where they issued warrants to. Um, and I read your comment and that didn't even click with me. Who who is Johnny, Kelly D? Why I don't know why that didn't click with me to ask you who Johnny was. You have to let me know if I didn't see it. Oh, is someone you lost someone? Who is it? I must have missed something. Let me know. Oh, let me know if there's anything I can do. Your brother-in-law? Oh no. Oh, that's terrible. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. Like I have a sister-in-law, and I couldn't imagine that. That's so terrible. I'm so sorry for your loss. And you know, like my mom used to say that you only officially die is when people stop talking about you and they stop like, you know, carrying your legacy and telling your funny stories and your stories in general. So I always try to talk about my mom and dad. Oh, being here makes things easier. Oh, he was only 58. Oh my gosh, that's so young. That is so young. Oh, that's so young. No, that's too young. My dad was 47, and that is terrifying to me because, you know, you don't, I mean, I know I'm not going to die at 47, but knock on wood. But you know what I mean? You get to a certain age and you're like, whoa, 47's not old at all. Like, wait a minute, where'd the years go? Do you know what I mean? Like, because when I was 22 and I lost him, I was like, oh, 47. It seemed a little bit older to me then. Now that I'm 37, I'm like, shoot, 47's young. Huckleberry Hound 45. Oh no, that's so sad. We're gonna have to do another mental health live. Do one on like loss or something, because I think we've all lost somebody in here. So I'll go ahead and show you guys this. This is the first video I wanted to play for you. It explains better than I probably did when and where they issued the warrants to. So let me know who you think the target was. I keep going back and forth between Maddie and Kaylee. So in the beginning, I thought it was Kaylee. Then I thought it was Maddie whenever the Instagram was coming out. And then now I don't know. Oh no. Is it Score Palina? My stepson passed at 16. Oh no, that's so sad. That is too young. I feel like whenever people go that young, it's like they have to go for a reason. They're supposed to be, you know, watching over somebody else, or there's a higher power being, like there's a higher being that's involved, and there's more than, I don't know, I'll ever be able to know, especially the babies. So, okay, so this one, yep. So this is going to talk about the warrant served on the 60 companies here.
When I say that, I'm talking about warrants for companies like Amazon, Google, DoorDash, Apple, eBay, American Express, Walmart, banks like Bank of America, Discover, Wells Fargo. 3 warrants went to AT&T and Verizon. Social media platforms, Reddit, Snapchat, and Facebook's parent company, Meta Platforms, they got a warrant. Match Group, which owns 45 different dating sites like Tinder and OkCupid, they got a warrant. Both of the Coeur d'Alene and Moscow Police Department's forensics labs, they got warrants, which is intriguing, right? Because it's the cops sending the material there. And Blue Ridge Knives and K-Bar Knives, they got warrants. So for that, Trent Copeland is the best guy to talk to, because there are all sorts of reasons why warrants like that would go out, and they may not be exactly as we think. So Trent, when you see the big long list, first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the police are much further ahead in this investigation than we give them credit for. Remember, actually, there have been some people who've criticized the Idaho police, calling them Keystone cops, small-town cops, not big enough for this job. I think we have to take another look at that. And I'm not one of those persons that believes that, never did at any point. But I think we've got to give them their kudos at this point. They are far ahead in this investigation, much further ahead than I think any of us ever knew. And what we know is that what police are attempting to do at this point is triangulate the evidence. I think what this all suggests is that their search warrant suggests that first, they're seeking to establish if there was a digital connection between Kohberger and the victim. That's why Tinder, Match, all of those other companies, many of whom have the dating app websites, particularly Tinder, Yik Yak. And remember, Yik Yak, very popular with college kids, very popular because you can communicate anonymously. I think what police are establishing or attempting to establish is that there is a digital connection between Kohberger and these victims, and not just any old random connection.
Okay, so I see in the chat that you guys know what Yik Yak is, because I've been trying to figure that one out, and I think if this is what I think it is it an online chat forum that you can chat anonymously up to like a 5-mile radius? Is that what it is? Okay, yeah. Kelly D literally put it in the chat as I said it. She said Yik Yak is quite frightening, really. It's anonymous and you can chat with people in a 5-mile radius. Okay, that's what I thought. I kind of looked it up, just like Googled it. And so I wasn't sure if that was just like all of it or if I wasn't. So I won't be streaming it. So what happened was, and I meant to say that in the beginning of the live, what happened was when we went to stream the ID episode the other day, which I've never streamed anything off of ID, so I was like, let's give it a try. They literally just cut the stream off. So what happened was I was getting ready. I was just going to end the stream because I didn't think the stream was going to come back on. But since I had exit out of like Spectrum or whatever and got off of that page, off of ID, as soon as I hit the end broadcast button, it literally was bringing me back up to you guys. I was like, oh, are you kidding? So it won't even let, there was a girl, I don't know if you've heard of the creator Plunder, but she has a pretty big channel here. She was just going to put, she was going to add clips of, I guess, the ID channel, I think, into her, video. And they even stopped her from uploading it. That's how fast they were on that. So yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, it was insane. So yeah, I wanted to just know what that Yik Yak was because I wasn't sure what that meant. Plunder she seems like she's a very nice lady, Teresa. She reminds me of you a little. Oh, you're welcome. No problem, Casey. If I could, I would have. But I will tell you that if you guys saw the 48 hours or the 2020 or the Dateline, which we did get a stream of a few of those ones were just as good, I felt like, if not better than the ID. I did get to see most of the ID one, after I got off the live. But I don't know. I liked the 2020 and the 48 hours one a little more. Oh, thanks, Kelly D. She is a very genuine person. I can tell that she is. And she's got some good skin. So I'll go ahead and start playing the video again.
The deep personal connection, such that, and I think you suggested a moment ago, such that intimate things may have been exchanged. Kohberger may have said things to these women sexually. Kohberger may have said things to these women because he was attempting to go out on a date with them. He may have been rebuffed by them. So those are the kind of things that I think we're looking at in the search warrant. And second, I think the digital evidence also establishes that the motive potentially, because I think once the evidence is established and can be established that there was a digital connection between Kohberger and these women, I think we'll also begin to see that maybe having been rebuffed by Kaylee, having been rebuffed by Maddie, that may establish the motive for why he was so obsessed with them and why he wanted revenge for having been
right. We're guessing about the Kaylee Maddie business because what we do know is that Kohberger had reached out to one of these victims. And then we have sources at News Nation who we've spoken to close to this investigation who said that there was more towards Maddie and that neither of them had responded. So that could be certainly looked at as a rebuff, even though many times people don't even see their DMs. I know there's a lot of DMs I don't see. So, okay, another question I wanted to ask you about, because it could be confusing to some. Many of these warrants were issued for these companies well before Bryan Kohberger was even on the radar. And so it's interesting to sort of see the way they were going to find the person and then the warrants that went out once they found the suspect. So walk me through the significance of warrants after you have a guy as opposed to before you have a guy.
Well, look, Ashley, I'm going to disagree with you. You say these warrants went out before they had their guy. I think these warrants went out when they knew or reasonably suspected that they probably had their guy. And I think you do correctly say sequence matters. These warrants went out before he was arrested, and these warrants suggest strongly that they knew that whoever it was that committed these murders, they strongly suspected that it was Bryan Kohberger. Because remember, it was in November when they knew that that white Elantra had been near the scene. They knew that in November. He wasn't arrested until late December. So I think what the police were doing is, again, triangulating this evidence, trying to put it together, placing him at the scene, digitally connecting him to the victims, and then establishing the motive. Again, in 3 stages, placing him at the scene, digitally connecting him with the victims, and establishing a motive as a result of those 2 things that have happened. So I think the police are much further along with this. I think they're working hand in glove with the prosecution. I really do think, Ashley, that we're moving at breakneck speed, or at least the police investigators are moving at breakneck speed to match this case, to put this case together. Because remember, that preliminary hearing is upcoming, and they want to be able to show the goods to this court as to why this case should move forward to trial.
Boy, I'll bet they were happy when Kohberger's defense attorney wanted so many months before this hearing in June. Like they were like, "Thank you." It's like manna from heaven.
Played right into their hands. Played absolutely right into their hands.
Sure, investigators' hands, and then I would think also like the prosecutor. You know, attorneys love time. It's it's helpful in putting your case together, and B, billable hours. I don't need to tell you, Troy Copeland. Thank you, sir. I love having you on. Please don't bill us for that, because I want to have you on longer next time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for.
Okay, yeah, so I wanted to play that for you. So I don't know who I feel like, I don't know. At first, like I said, I thought that maybe Kaylee was the intended person, and then I thought Maddie, and then they come on here. And I think that was kind of a slip of the tongue by the, I don't know who the guy was that was talking. I forgot his name already. That's my attention span. I forgot his name. Whoops. But I felt like that was a slip of the tongue when he said something about, Kaylee and Maddie's Instagram accounts, or him being in their, DMs or whatever. Because she says, you hear Ashley go, "Oh, no, that's not fact." Really quick. So I think they probably were chit-chatting before they went on, and that's probably why he had a little slip of the tongue there. But then they went over a few different little things last night, so I'll go over those with you guys. Oh, and also I have to look into this more, but do you remember the TikToker that was being sued by the professor for defamation? So I guess Ashley, the girl that is being sued, the TikToker that has tarot cards and she does tarot readings, she's countersuing. I don't know what she's going to think she's going to get, but I'm going to look into that so I can let you guys know about that. Oh, yeah, I am October born. I know I look like one. Let me see here. So I think that the officers, I think they did a pretty good job getting all of those warrants early. Apparently they knew a little bit more than we thought that they did, I feel like. But I'm glad that the FBI was there to definitely step in and help, because they needed it. I feel like with them being such a small, small agency, that they needed outside help for sure. I came from a small town, so I couldn't imagine if something like this happened in my small town. They would definitely need help. Yeah, it's for defamation. And I'm wondering, so I'm going to get on there and I'm going to see if her TikTok, if she's still doing TikToks, because if she's still doing them, I mean, someone's got to get her in a mental hospital. So let's see. So the next thing that we never really talked about this on on my channel, but I thought we would go over it a little bit because they went over it on Banfield last night, and she had a lady come on and speak, and I don't know who the lady was. She's a criminologist, Sarah Daly. So they talk about Bryan Kohberger and if he is an incel. So incel is short for involuntary celibate. They're just men that usually tend to blame women for their own misery. They're going to give you a pretty good definition of it on Banfield, but that's my short version of it. Hi, Lisa. Let's see. You do tarot readings for fun? Oh, I bet that they are fun though. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a really funny story really quick about tarot readings. My friend did a tarot reading. This is going to be like 30 seconds. My friend did a tarot reading on me one time. My boyfriend was in the other room and he had no idea what a tarot reading was. He's not there. He's not all the way there. And he thought that I was breaking up with him. So the whole next day, like we came home, we were fine, everything was fine. But the next day he was acting weird. And I'm like, what is going on with this guy? We've been together for 5 years at this time. And he finally told me at the end of the day, he said, I thought you were going to leave me. He thought he read it wrong. It was backwards. Like he was like my motivation and he was like all the good stuff. And I was like, no, you're not going anywhere, buddy. But that's my funny tarot reading. I'll have to you have to do one. Yeah, you have to do one for me sometimes. So maybe he'll feel better about it. That poor guy, I felt so bad for him thinking that for a whole day, that he thought I was going to break up with him because like he just acted like he was moping around. I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, cause he's never acted like that. And then I started thinking and I'm like, was it about last night? And the funny thing was he doesn't smoke like weed or anything. And my friend makes like edibles and he ate a bunch of them because he thought they were like crackers that were like Toll House or something. So I think that's why his mind was going a little funky. So yeah, it was a pretty funny little story from us. Poor Vincent. Okay, so this will be Ashley Banfield. They're going to talk about just like what is an incel and if Bryan Kohberger could be one.
She is a criminologist who dedicated much of her life's work to studying incels and mass violence. And Dr. Daly, it's great to have you. I think the most important thing, before we even begin our conversation, is to kind of define incels and discuss why that's important when we look at this particular case involving Bryan Kohberger and the allegations against him. So as simple as you can, give our audience the real Reader's Digest version of what an incel is and why there's so much connection to Kohberger.
Thanks for having me on. Incels, very simply put, are men who are involuntarily celibate. They want to be in romantic and sexual relationships, but they can't achieve them for any number of reasons, including their physical appearance, mental illness, or personality problems, or just that they've missed milestones in their lives. So they generally exist on the internet, and they communicate with each other on forums, and they are notorious for vile language to discuss women, attractive women, sex havers. So they're mad at men too. And so they really feel very spurned by society. And I think we've gotten to this point with Bryan Kohberger because we're still looking for a motive. And because these were attractive young women, one with her boyfriend. So I think it's not a far leap for a lot of people to question if Bryan Kohberger is an incel.
So one of the prevailing theories right now is that there's a connection to Elliot Rodger. Elliot Rodger is considered like Saint ER, they call him. They think he's the father of the incel movement. In 2014, he killed 6 people and wounded more than 12 near UC Santa Barbara. And he wrote a manifesto. And on page 118 of his manifesto, and there's a reason that I seized that particular passage. I just want to read it. All right, here's how it goes. Women must be punished for their crimes of rejecting such a magnificent gentleman as myself. All of those popular boys must be punished for enjoying heavenly lives and having sex with all the girls while I had to suffer in lonely virginity. I lived in a college town full of young, attractive students who partied and had sex all the time, and I didn't get to experience any of it. And now we learn that there was one item that was seized from Bryan Kohberger's parents' home in Pennsylvania. And it's only described as a book with underlining on page 118. The problem I have here is that it would be a perfect connection if the manifesto was a book, but it's not. It's an online thing. So this is a tricky thing. If Elliot Rodgers' manifesto was printed out and bound and made into a book, and page 118 was highlighted, I could see the connection between Bryan Kohberger, who some think had the Facebook handle Papa Roger, commenting on the murders and having a lot of intimate knowledge about the murders before we all knew about it. But that is it's awfully coincidental that they seized something that's underlined on page 118.
It certainly is. And there are many concerning things throughout that Isla Vista shooter's writing that could have resonated with someone who is isolated or frustrated. It's like you said, though, the only thought that gives me pause is that it is an online document. It's possible he could have had it printed and bound, which I've actually done with the same document for research. But it also could have been any number of criminology or criminal justice related books. A lot of it's just the content that we consume in doctoral programs and in our work.
So much of this is more than likely going to be revealed in evidence once we eventually can, get beneath the gag order close to trial date or within the trial itself. But it will be fascinating and certainly ripe for a new conversation. Dr. Daly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
I wonder if incels, like men that are considered incels though, like true incels, if they're able to go out on dates at all. Like he's very awkward on his dates, but I wonder if they're even able to get a date. But then again, he probably could get a date if he went online because he's behind a computer. So that may help him. I don't know. Oh my Lord, but that lady, she thought her makeup was 1,000% on target for that interview. And it was definitely not. Like, woo. As soon as I saw this, someone said Ursula and I was dying. I'm so glad my camera's off tonight. Because I was like, oh my God. I almost paused it just because I was laughing, just so I could laugh with you guys. But I think that he does check a lot of the boxes when I was looking it up and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's why I was asking you guys. I was wanting to know what y'all thought. But I think that he does check a lot of the boxes. Let's see. Oh, and then there was this video I wanted to show you that was on Kumo. Because I want to get your intake on this guy that Kumo had on panel. He says that Bryan is a sociopath. And if you don't know like what the definition of a sociopath is, I looked it up. A sociopath by definition is antisocial personality disorder, sometimes called sociopathy. It's a mental health condition in which a person constantly shows no regard for right and wrong and ignores the rights and feelings of others. So I'm going to play this video and you let me know what you guys think. Look at Kumo. This is a funny picture of him. But in the beginning, they do talk about a little bit of the search warrants, and then they get into it.
And there are new warrants issued in the Bryan Kohberger quadruple murder case out of Idaho. Some of them are by big companies, Amazon, Apple. We have to understand what this means about the case. Let's bring in the better minds. Florida State's Attorney Dave Arenberg and high-profile trial attorney Mark Geragos. It's good to have you both. Let me start with Kohberger. This is a heady list in terms of brand names, Dave, of who is on the warrant list for this Kohberger case. A couple of them make sense to those who've been following. DoorDash, Geragos will tell us why that's so important to the timeline, potentially. K-Bar Knives, not exactly sure why they needed a warrant, but does this surprise you in any way?
Not at all, Chris. And the ones that I'm most interested in is the dating sites like Tinder, because we want to show that there's a motive here. That's probably the thing that is most puzzling. What is the connection between Bryan Kohberger and the victims. Well, if he was stalking them on Snapchat, Instagram, and the dating sites, well, that tells you a lot, and that can go a long way. Even though you don't have to prove motive in a first-degree murder case, the jurors still want to know the why, and that to me is still the weakest part of the prosecution's case as of today, but I think that's going to change soon.
One step sideways, because I believe you betrayed your prosecutor's grudge to my producer. Did you say that you believe that Bryan Kohberger having an interest in watching coverage of his case is proof he's a sociopath?
Well, that combined with the fact that apparently he is pretty quiet in prison while the inmates are yelling at him and he shows no emotion. What kind of person is obsessed with looking at coverage of his own case and doesn't react when other people are yelling at him in prison? Sounds like a sociopath to me. I mean, there's a lot of evidence of that, and I don't want to call him a sociopath because I don't know the guy, but he's sure playing the part of one.
You've said it twice, first of all, and he could just be scared and curious about his own fate. But I hear you on that. I'll be back to you in a second. Counselor Garagos, remind us why DoorDash is fundamental here in terms of understanding what may have happened or not and when.
Well, they're constructing a timeline. In that timeline, there is a DoorDash delivery. I forget the exact time. I want to say 4 a.m. But they are going to want to know whatever records, who called, what was placed, the order, who delivered, who responded, and the various little kind of circumstantial evidence that they can develop along those lines, because that is going to close the window for the timeline for them and is going to become very important. And to David's point, if I could also step sideways for a second, David, I don't know how many clients you've ever defended, but I can tell you they're all everybody who's ever been charged is a sociopath, or they have a unique interest because they're the ones being accused and they are preoccupied, I will tell you, in their fate and in their case itself. In this case, if you believe the lawyer who defended him in Pennsylvania, he feels like he's going to exonerate himself. And so I can't imagine, especially when you're locked up 24/7 a day, that you wouldn't be obsessed with coverage on your case.
Let me ask you something else, Dave. And just to close.
I'm just going to interrupt a little bit. But if I was Bryan Kohberger, I would be curious. Sorry, but yeah, I'd be wanting to know everything that is out there on me. I don't know if you actually saw this episode, like the whole Banfield last night, and she didn't tape herself, like this part of it. And I'm so mad that I wish I would have taped it with my phone or something because it was funny. But she got on the live, and I guess out there, it technically would have been 9 o'clock. So I think that they allow you like television normally, like in jail from, it's between like, I think 10 o'clock they turn it off. So he could have been watching, but she literally was like, if you're watching right now and like all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, Banfield, you're out of your mind. But it made me laugh so hard. She was like talking to Kohberger, like maybe he was listening to her. So I feel like though, if I was sitting in jail for, committing 4 murders, whether I did it or I didn't do it, I think I would want to absorb every piece of information that was out there about me, especially when you're sitting in a jail by yourself 23 hours a day. So, I think that I would be losing my mind right now, actually. But he's probably just watching TV.
Close a circle on that. If I'm where he is, I'm quiet. If my case is on TV, I'm watching. But I'll tell you when I would have been loud. And Garagos has heard me say this many times. When they came to my house at 2 o'clock in the morning to arrest me and said that we're here because you are accused of killing 4 people, I'm talking like crazy. If it wasn't me, Dave, I'm telling them a million different ways why it's not me. Garagos disagrees. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to News Nation now.
I was going to say something and now I can't remember. So he's like, it's not like, well, it's solitary, but it's not like solitary, not like in a hole or anything, but he is segregated from the rest of the jailers because if he Huckleberry Hound, if that's what I'm talking to, so he said, why is he in solitary? So they have to keep him segregated from the rest of the inmates because if he is near the other inmates, they are going to want to take him out. They're going to want to hurt him because of the high profile of the case. So, but after he, you know, if he goes to trial, I mean, when he goes to trial, if he is found guilty and he goes to prison, then he has no say in that. They won't be segregating him any longer. They may segregate him for the first maybe week or so, but I think after that, he'll just be sent, after he's done at the state, you know, penitentiary, then they send them to, you know, out throughout the state, they send them. And then that's when he'll be in with other inmates. So isn't that just insane? But he is definitely by himself now for his safety and the other safety, you know, the safety of the other inmates. A lot of people were questioning, you know, and we'll watch it in the next video, I think. He gets to watch, you know, TV and things of that nature, like in his cell. And a lot of people were really upset about that, which I can understand that. But at the same time, they can't just like lock him in a hole and not, you know, do anything, like just throw away the key. I mean, he's technically in our country, it's, you know, not guilty until you're proven that you're guilty, or not guilty, but you know what I mean? Innocent until proven guilty. So they have to be sort of humane with him. So I think that's why he gets to watch some TV. And yeah, this one is also going, so the next video, Bryan has been attending Mass on Sundays. I know exactly why he's going to Mass on Sundays. That guy is bored out of his mind and he wants out of his cell. Like point blank, period. He hasn't found God. I don't believe that for a second. I really don't. I just don't. When you're in county jail, you usually are in a pod, but he's segregated off by himself. So he's literally just sitting in his cell for 23 hours a day. If he can find another reason to get out of his cell for an extra hour a week or whatever it is, he's going to be like, oh yeah, I found God. So we'll see if he sticks with that. But if he were to get out, which he won't probably ever get out, God would be gone. God would still be in jail, you know.
Let's get back to Bryan Kohberger in the Latah County Jail, because the Daily Mail has some great sources, and so do we, talking about what jail is like and what the inmates are like and what they think of Kohberger and what he does when they abuse him verbally. I want to go right to our senior national correspondent, Bryan Enton, who's standing by live. He's been covering this story from the beginning. You know, I guess, Bryan, we expected some of the reports of what those inmates thought of him, but to hear it articulated is a whole other kettle of fish. Talk to me about some of the reporting that we've been getting on Kohberger's life behind bars so far.
Well, it's interesting, Ashley. Our sources have confirmed, and you mentioned it, that Kohberger is going to Mass every Sunday inside the Latah County Jail. And you'll remember, this isn't a big jail at all. It's very, very small. It's in the basement of the courthouse building right below the courtrooms. But apparently he is given the opportunity to go to Mass on Sundays. I've not heard about him being especially religious in the past, but apparently he does have this Mass that he attends. He has conversations there with the priest. What he's talking about, we don't know, but we've confirmed that he is going to Mass. There are other reports that, you know, he's in the cell by himself. Anytime he leaves the cell, he has at least 2 guards with him. There are moments where he walks by other cells where they yell out at him, but we are told that he just remains totally stone cold, looking forward, no emotion when other inmates yell out at him, which really is no surprise based on.
I don't know how he can do that part. So imagine you're in jail and you have, I mean, jails are loud. So all the inmates are yelling and then you walk by and they just probably go like crazy. And he doesn't even jump. He doesn't even flinch. He just keeps walking straight ahead, looking straight ahead. I mean, we've all seen the 1,000-yard stare that he has. You can see it right here. But can you imagine? I mean, if I was in that jail with him and I was one of those other inmates and I was in there for some petty stuff, I'd be terrified. I would say, no, get him away from me.
Based on what we already know about Kohberger, Ashley.
Yeah, some of those inmates interviewed have said that they couldn't believe they were in there locked up with him because they said this is Moscow. Not a lot of this kind of stuff happens here. One inmate was quoted saying this: "He watches himself all the time. It's really kind of bizarre." That reference to the fact that he's watching coverage of himself on television. And here's the weird part, Brian. We're told that the jailer decides one channel. One channel is what the entire jail gets. So if the other inmates are over in, like a rec room together watching their single television, he has to watch the same thing, but he has to watch it in his own cell. But the other inmates, who some of them say we're just 30 feet away from him, they know, for some reason, they know when he's sitting there consuming his own press. It's just sort of a fascinating concept.
Yeah, and I'm sure they can hear it. I mean, again, it's a very, very, very small jail. Apparently, with the other inmates, they are all brought into sort of like a group room. You mentioned it, where they watch TV together, but Kohberger totally isolated, but just down the way. So he has the TV to himself in his cell.
So here's another quote. He apparently has been taking a lot of taunts from the other prisoners, but the jailers said that he is still a model prisoner. Even when they taunt him and they call him names, this is what the other inmate said. He rarely talks. Quote, "He always has the same expression or non-expression." Quote, "He just looks straight ahead. I've never, ever seen his eyebrows or his mouth move. He never says anything." And then we can also confirm that he is allowed to make calls out. He can't receive the calls. And if he gets a call, they will pass him. The jailers will pass him a note. And then he has the option to call or FaceTime him back. And FaceTiming, Brian, is something that has really irked, I think, a lot of the victims' families. They've said, FaceTime? What? An inmate gets to FaceTime? We don't even get, to write letters to our loved ones.
Yeah, I can imagine why that would be frustrating and hard to hear when you lost a loved one. But I'm not surprised about him not really having emotions, not even raising an eyebrow when people yell out at him. We've seen him out, when he's been transported in Pennsylvania outside, just totally stone cold. When he's brought into court, same exact thing. And so it doesn't surprise me that that's the way he's acting also behind bars. And we've heard the same thing, that, in many ways he is, sort of a model prisoner, courteous with the guards, doesn't really cause any trouble, mostly keeps to himself in his cell. Besides what we've also confirmed tonight, that he is now going to a private mass on Sundays.
Like I said, all the prisoners I've interacted with in this line of work, I would say the majority of them find God, because it's that, and if you're lucky, yoga, but you really don't get a whole lot of other activities, in jail or in prison. I have been told, though, he does get some library time as well. So maybe he's working on his case. Who knows? Bryan Enton, great job. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Go.
So I'm still laughing. Teresa never cusses. Teresa accidentally cussed in the chat. It's still making me laugh. I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't be laughing. It's not a laughing matter. I mean, that is, but She keeps saying she's sorry. But don't, because it really made my night. It really did. Because whenever I'm trying to say the F word, my phone always autocorrects to ducks. You missed Teresa cussing Summer. Just go back up in the chat a minute. It didn't say ducks. It went to the F word. Man, I gotta breathe. I can't help it. Thanks, Princess Meg. I have tears coming down my face. This is really funny. You guys do this to me all the time, and it's always when I'm not on camera. Thank the Lord, though. Man, because I'm usually on camera, but most of the time, like when you guys say something that's really off the wall, like I'm usually not, and it's a good thing. But it's usually Summer that says it. Man. So back to this. But so with Bryan being like walking through the jailhouse, like I mean, keeping his head down, he's either extremely guilty, I don't know, or extremely smart. Like, you know, his lawyer probably told him not to say anything, but I mean, to me, I would be throwing myself on the floor. Also, what was else was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say about this video. Actually, I have my notes. Let me see. Oh, it was actually, I wrote that down because I wanted to show you this other clip. So do you guys remember when there was this other guy that went on to News Nation and he was a inmate of the county jail of Latah County Jail? And he went on News Nation. This was probably maybe like a couple months ago, like right whenever Bryan got arrested. And basically it just shows you like a chart of where they like placed him and then the other cells that are in the jail. So I thought that we would just review that. It's just an older video, but it's pretty interesting. It was just a guy that was, you know, in the Latah County Jail. So he's a former inmate in the same jail. So he kind of knows the layout. So I'll play this and then we'll talk about it.
So whenever you're laying down, somebody of my size, your head's touching one side of the wall and your feet are basically touching the bars. It's very short. It's very short in there. If you sleep with your head by the toilet, it smells foul. It's horrible. You sleep with your head on the other side, all you get is bright lights. So, I mean, it's uncomfortable in there, to say the least.
And then I think there's one description you also said that if you decided to sleep, and we've got a diagram, you know, up on the monitor here where you can see the toilet is at one side of the cell and the bars are at the other side and the bed runs the length. If you decide not to sleep with your head next to the toilet and you choose to sleep with your head next to the bars, did you say that the other inmates can actually reach you, can reach through the bars and do something to you?
Yeah, so that could be a possibility. I have only ever heard of that happening. I didn't have it happen to me. But the fact of the matter is Kohberger won't have anybody in that hold with him with the charges that he has. It's extremely serious. They wouldn't take it lightly and put anybody else in danger.
So when we look at the diagram and there's it looks to be several cells all next to each other and then sort of a common area with a metal table and there's a TV, I believe, in that common area. That does not depict the maximum security area. Is that correct?
No. So if you look from where it says main gate to maximum security, the moment you walk through that gate, you are in the maximum security hold. Then right there in front of the main gate, there is a gate through that barred off corridor where the TV is. That's where the guards would always be. The inmates would be on the other side of there. So all of that is the max security area.
And it looks as though there's a camera pointing into each of those 4 cells. So, and again, just to be clear, those 4 cells that I'm looking at, were those all 4 maximum security cells?
Yes, they are. So if there is 4 inmates in there at any given time, they will all be locked into each one of those cells for the duration of their sleep. Or if they all are, if they're all confined to their cells for periods of time, they will be let out one at a time for their rec time. Yeah, so there's different ways they go about holding inmates in there, but usually, more often than not, a murderer would be in there by himself with nothing but his thoughts.
And at this point, it's accused murderer. I do want to ask you about the 23-hour lockdown that you said would be the standard protocol for somebody accused of rape or murder, which is the segregated area. Did you say that on occasion they forget about that 1 hour, that the guards get busy and that the inmates don't even get that 1 hour out to stretch their legs?
Okay, so to be clear, I what I had said is there is a possibility of 23-hour lockdown for him. If he isn't locked down 23 hours, then yes, legally he is supposed to have an hour of rec time, no matter what, every day. The jail is usually overcrowded, and there's not enough staff to be able to get everybody in and out for their hour of rec time. So you either get it or you don't. I mean, it's pretty hit or miss. So I doubt that their priority.
Sure. I also
Sorry.
want to ask you about the rusty conditions, because there's some pictures that were put out publicly of the jail that didn't look too bad, but that might be one area of the jail. The area of the jail that you remember, the max security part, not quite so fancy, as you describe it, very rusty, very old. Give me a bit more of a feel for that.
Yeah, so the pictures that are depicted online, those cells are general population areas. And the governor was coming, so they dressed it up. They painted just before those pictures were done. They had inmates paint them for things like coffee. The maximum security side, though, I mean, the paint is all chipped off. It's rusty. The drains are full of nasty filth. It's mildewy in there. The ceilings are extremely short. It's just a small claustrophobic metal box, and it's not fun. I mean, it's not fun. It's no way for anybody to live who's reasonable. But the thing is that Latah County does the best that they can with the funds that they have. So it is not their fault. I'm not trying to put any blame on the county or anything for like that. It's just the sad reality is it's not a very fun place at all. And he's exactly where he deserves to be through the duration of this trial. So the public is safe if he indeed is a murderer or not. He's just,
I'm glad you said that.
Very secure place.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to go back over that one because that was a while since we've watched that. I have so many different windows open. It's ungodly. Let me close some of these. Because they always do them in clips whenever News Nation uploads their videos. I don't know why they don't just do the whole episode. Very strange to me. Let me see here. Oh yeah, I had a poll going and then I didn't even ask you guys the poll. Forgot. I thought I hit the enter button and I didn't. You would think this was my first live. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button, it really does help the channel grow and it really helps your girl out. I would love that forever. That's really all I have for you guys for tonight, was just to show you those videos. I wanted to come on and talk to you guys and laugh with you because that was some funny stuff. That was a fun live, even though we were talking about Bryan Kohberger. So yeah, the way that his jail is set up, and you just got to think those, oh my gosh, just imagine getting on those toilets. They're made of metal. Oh my Lord. I would be like, I'm cool, but you can't be cool all the time. So he's probably not liking it right now. And I love that you have those little ducks, the mallards. I live at this, we have this place, where we live, we have mallards here. They're just everywhere. But then we get those really big, ugly birds too. Those swan looking birds, not the swans, but they're those big birds. I don't know. Big birds, I don't like them, but the little mallards are cute. I don't mind them. Vegan water. Yeah. And that's the thing that it gets me because he left a leather knife sheath behind. So how vegan is the guy? Because I know some vegan people. I don't know. I'm assuming they would probably have a vegan bag if it was leather. But I wonder, actually, you know what? Vincent's brother's pretty hardcore vegan. I'm going to ask him to ask his brother what kind of wallet he has. If he has if it's metal or if it's leather or what kind of wallet he has. Because he's vegan, y'all. He sent us, it was really sweet. He sent us breakfast when we were in California. His brother sent us up like this gourmet breakfast, but it was from a vegan restaurant. And I was just like, oh, it looked beautiful, but it didn't taste beautiful. I can't do vegan. I could be a vegetarian. I gotta have dairy and some stuff. Bryan veggie. I like the veggie burger. I like the hamburger. I didn't even know that was on there. That's so funny. Tofu. Vincent's mom has sent out enough. I'm going to show you guys a picture of this cabinet. I have this pantry. I could open up an Asian grocery store right now. We have more tofu than the grocery store has on hand. Any grocery store in the area, probably put them all together. She lines the boxes with tofu when she sends him food. She's an Asian mother and they make sure that their babies eat. That's for sure. And she sends all of this from California. I'd like to see that bill once a year of all the stuff that she sends because it's so cute though. But she sends, and Vincent's not a vegetarian by any means, but he'll eat anything. But his mom will send some tofu. I don't eat it. The dogs will eat it. I guess they like tofu, but not me. But like maybe a hemp wallet. They have even purses for women that are like vegan free. I used to work, and now I own a boutique, but I used to work at a boutique and we had vegan free purses, vegan free wallets. And I just remember thinking that was the funniest thing. But I guess now looking back on it, I guess I know why people would get them. Bryan doesn't need a wall. He's got free meals for the rest of his life. You got that right. And it's crazy to me. I've heard people are just going crazy about going to his court date. There's creators that are going to show up there and stuff. And if they let cameras in, if the first day that court is in session, and let's say they let the press in and they let some of these people come in that, are just creators and stuff that aren't really press. And I'm not saying JLR, I'm not speaking of him or anything in particular. I'm really not. I'm just saying in particular, I'm just saying it in whole, people in general that are creators. But creators are going to show up there camping out, trying to get into this courthouse. I think if that happens, they're going to shut that crap down right away. And nobody's going to be able to see anything. I feel like it's going to turn into a circus. It's going to be worse than I feel like it's going to be worse than Alec Murdaugh's trial. There's going to be more food vendors, more cameras, look at Alec Murdaugh and then just and then I bet you just times that by 50 and we won't even be able to touch what this is going to look like. I hope one camera, and I hope that they just don't even let half the people in there. Just hopefully they just let family, media, I won't even let a lot of media in there. Just keep it simple. Because, and I know, they're supposed to open it for, the public, I think, but, Did someone give memberships? Oh, they did. Oh, thank you, Margot. That's so sweet. I can't see it on my StreamYard. I was looking up at the computer. Oh, that's so sweet. See, I can't even highlight it on my thing. I hate that. Because it's on my iPad. Isn't that so weird? People will be selling souvenirs. That's right. So maybe I'll sell souvenirs from my house, but I'm not. If I have to go out there and be undercover, I will. It's only, a couple states away from Vincent's mom. But I just don't see the point of of doing that. So a free gift is, so basically someone, so Margot, she's one of our members. She gifted out memberships. So if you got a membership, then you can do you can watch our members only videos. I do members only posts, which I need to get up to date on that. So she gifted some memberships. That's so nice. So with the Stouch trial, that's what I meant to start off with this live with too, but I covered up my notes with my other notes. That's so sweet. I love that. So Gannon Stout, oh, my finger, sorry, I got got a cramp in my thumb. But that case, I just started I mean, that's a whole case. I mean, what happened to that little boy is just terrible. And his stepmother, all of the lies, all of the deceit, all of the twist, all of the turns, it's a lot to go through. But I want to do a live on it. I want to do multiple lives because it's going to take us multiple. But so be on the lookout for that, because that's the next case we're going to actually do, because that case starts the 20th. And I'm thinking, if I know, News Nation and Law and Crime and Law, Court TV and those places, they'll at least have a recap of the day of the court, you know what I mean, what they can get. So we'll be here nightly, since we won't be able to view it. We'll be here nightly though, doing recaps and things of that nature, because I think that's a really interesting case. And I just happened to pick the Sarah Boone one also, which is going to be coming. Pre-trial starts so March 28th. And I didn't realize that I picked two stories with people in suitcases. So I guess that's the way this channel is going for a minute. We're going to be talking about that. Yeah, it's been 3 years. I cannot even believe that. This is a case that I didn't even know about. I never heard about this case until I started researching it. And so I did those videos, and I just wanted to get you guys a timeline and get you guys some information about it. But I mean, we're going to have to do some diving into that. So actually, Lisa, you reminded me. I was going to look that up. I haven't heard anything about them demolishing the house. But I think, not recently, but I think that they said that they were going to do it before, before the spring quarter. Oh, thank you. Oh, this summer, that's so funny, because Teresa said a bad word. She gave me a super chat for $20. Thank you so much. You guys are good. I was laughing so hard. I thought it was so funny, because I knew as soon as she did that, she was like, I knew she was probably red in her face. I'll have to tell you a funny story, actually. After my car accident, I forget what, I think it was my sister-in-law or something. Love you to pieces, Danielle, if you're listening. But me and her got into it. It was a family dispute. We never have gotten into it since. And it was just something that happened. But I wanted to write her a message, and I wanted it to be every other word was F-bombing. And I'm F-bombing, I'm F-bombing, I'm F-bombing. I've got a whole paragraph. And I looked down at the phone, and all of the words changed. They changed to ducking, because ducking is better than the alternative, I guess. So I started bawling my eyes out because it didn't say what I wanted it to say. And it was just one of those things where I cried because I had one eye, and I was like, why did it do that? And I didn't realize that phones, it was my first, I think, iPhone since the iPhone 4. So I was kind of out of the loop, but I'm glad I didn't end up sending that message. So it actually saved me from sending the message. So I'm glad I didn't send the message, because it was really, really bad. Did you know that Letitia stabbed that poor baby 18 times and shot him in the jaw? Yes. He had so many different injuries to him. It was ungodly. Yeah, and then she moved him. See, those are things the little details. I heard that she had moved him, but I didn't know how many times. So you guys will be helping me. Yeah, and I heard that her daughter is out of the USA. Yeah, I heard that too. I didn't even know that she had a daughter up until 3 or 4 days ago. When I made the first video, I don't think I knew. And then the second video I did. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, because I'll research, and there's just so much. There is so much on this case. So it's where do you know what I mean? It's where do I start? So definitely going to get into that one. And then Sarah Boone is the lady that put her boyfriend in a suitcase. They were playing hide and go seek, and they're 42. They're playing hide and go seek. She locked him in a suitcase and went upstairs and went to sleep and forgot about him. So they're charged her with second-degree murder. You guys can decide whether you think she did that on purpose or not. But I'm just like, woo. Yeah, man, wow. So there's not a lot of documentaries. Okay, so Ina, what I did was I did 2 different videos on it. And was there one on Netflix? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to look, because I looked everywhere for a documentary on this case. And then so I found Nancy Grace did a video back in 2020. And then she did one in 2021. So I put those 2 together, and then I just need to add on to the end, because it kind of gives you a recap of kind of what was going on. Yes, that I want to show you guys that interrogation one day too. Yeah, that was very disturbing. She's like, do I have to watch this? Well, yeah, you recorded it. And then so Sarah Boone, she ended up recording part of this crime. You can hear him literally begging to be let out of this suitcase. It's disgusting. I don't know how much I'll even be able to play it on the live. I'll try to play it all. Maybe I can put headphones in. It's just really, it's one of those things, if you hear it, you can't unhear it. Yeah. It's just, oh man, it's just so bad. Oh, well, that's okay, Summer. You go back to work. We're getting ready to get off here anyway. Yeah, so there's an interrogation. She did that, but they postponed hers, I think, because she was playing and she was trying to do insanity. I think they're trying to do the battered wife defense or battered girlfriend defense. Oh, thanks, Ina. She watched my videos. I love that when you guys watch them. That's why I put them out there. But I am going to have a video out for you guys every night at 6:00. And I can even tell you, tonight I did a video on Leilani Simon and that train wreck of a person. And then tomorrow they're kind of just I think one tomorrow is just maybe the one that we kind of did tonight. Yeah, I think I kind of just broke them up a little bit. Oh, actually tomorrow is Sarah Boone. So I did a 10-minute video, and I did all of that. I did that by my, it's just me talking and showing you what they look like and stuff like that. I know. And I think that I don't care how drunk you are. You know, I don't know about that one. I am going to say that she did that. I don't think that she made him get into the suitcase or anything like that. I think it was maybe a game, but I think that she made that game start. I think that she saw a way to I guess hurt him, and she took advantage of it. Now he's telling her he can't breathe for minutes. And then she goes upstairs and goes to bed. What? And then the next day, the interview with her outside, she's not even upset. She's not even upset. If that was me and I just happened, okay, let's just say you're 42 years old and you're playing hide and go seek. Let's just say, okay, first off, you're not going to be hiding the person. Why are you hiding the person that you're seeking? That's not hide and seek. I'm putting you in a suitcase. So that part was a little strange to me. But okay. So let's say they're let's see if you can fit in the suitcase. Because that's what I think it was. I think it was something along those lines. Maybe even she got in first and he maybe zipped her up, and then maybe she got out, and then she said, now your turn. And they're just playing around. I don't see why it was how it could be a game of hide and go seek when they're both hiding. She's helping him hide. What's she going to do? Go around the corner, count to 10, and then come back to the suitcase? It's just crazy. And he couldn't unzip it. That's so terrifying. A lot of suitcases, though, they have that zipper on the inside, I thought. You know what I mean? It's a double. That's how our suitcases are, I think. Maybe they're not. She said hide and seek. Yeah, she said they're playing hide and seek. And like, I mean, and if you're going to hide them and you're going to go seek them out, you're going to take them out of the suitcase. You're going to say, oh, gotcha. Like, it's the best part of playing hide and go seek is when you find the person. Yeah, she said that she left it. Yeah. And well, and then I heard she had to use a paper clip to actually get it closed all the way. And I heard she did flip the suitcase over, Kelly D, because you could see it on the video. It looks like it is flipped over too. Well, I hope that they get them, Teresa, because they need to be getting those mental health records. That's what I heard too. Oh, that she threw it down the stairs with a minute. Yes. That's what I heard too. She had no, it's a case you guys are going to be like, what? Because I mean, I was like, who does this? And then the next day she's like, I woke up and he was in the suitcase and I pulled him out and he was blue. And I tried CPR and I'm like, you're not even breathing heavy. You're not even perspirating. You're not even crying. I'm just like, oh my Lordy, have mercy. But I am going to jump off of here. I do appreciate you guys all being here this evening. Thanks for the super chat and thank you for the memberships. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, they need to throw away the key when she's locked up. You're absolutely right, Ashley. Well, you guys have a good night. And the next case I think we're going to be talking about will probably either be, will probably be the Gannon Stouch case. If, I can get everything together by the next day or two, we will do that. But I love you guys so much. Have a good evening. Don't forget to like the video on your way out if you don't mind. And I'll see you guys all in the next live.